information to give you. We can't possibly do it in one performance. So we're going to take it topic by topic, guys. And today I want to talk to you about safeguarding. Sexual safeguarding. We're told this is to safeguard our kids. So now I'm speaking to all the teachers, and I'm speaking to Professor Emma Reynolds. I'm calling her out now. So I've looked at Emma Reynolds' report on the safeguarding for our schools, okay? She was delivered a wonderful report. This education is to safeguard our kids. So everything I say here is a fact, is a statistic which you can get offline. I want you to look up every word I say, because this stuff is not mainstream, all right? And it is not in Emma Reynolds' report. So let's start with the drawing board. Schools are institutions, okay? Institutional abuse in the UK is rife. It is rife, it is not historical. Where there are children, there are predators. Let's talk about the word predator. When I say predator, you all think some weirdo, some slime ball looking after your kids. But I'm talking about a paedophile. You still think the same, some weirdo, some slime ball, some gruesome man coming after your kids. Paedophile's got a different meaning. It means child love. So to the paedophiles, it's love. It's not nasty, it's not abusive, it is love and it's sensual. So we're looking at two different sides of this coin, all right? So when people say, oh, why would they do that, why would they do that? There's a group of people out there that support this behaviour involving kids. That is a fact. And most of those people are writing our policies. Should we just have a quick look at the kind of people writing our policies?
Yes.
So, can I have somebody to help loose children? So, see this page here? Sex abuse against kids, right? Less than 1% are convicted. Less than 1%. This page here got 29 convictions on. Grab the other side, Lou. Just 29 convictions, which that is a lot. No doubt. But look at that. These are your policy makers, your school governors, your school councillors, your mayors, your children ministers, your child commissioners, all convicted of sex attacks on our kids in this country. But they would never do that. They would never ever do that. So those are the convictions. Wales is rife, right? Rife with abuse. We've done some freedom of information requests and I've lost my file, so I'm looking for something else. So, we are told this safeguards our children. Teachers, you're not trained. You are not a criminologist. You do not work with perpetrators of abuse. Therefore, you know nothing about sex abuse. Fact. When we are protecting our cars against car thieves, we think like a car thief. We're protecting our house from burglars, we think like a burglar. Why aren't we thinking like a predator when we're looking at our policies then? Our safeguarding policies. Why is there not one mention of institutional abuse in our safeguarding policies? Our teachers are trained to look at peer-on-peer abuse. Peer-on-peer abuse has risen dramatically since the introduction of this education. Our policies will tell us to look at the peer-on-peer abuse. They give the teachers a chart. The teachers look at the chart. This is safeguarding, okay? This is level 2 safeguarding. Teachers look at the chart. Yeah, it looks a bit dodgy. I'm going to take this as safeguard lead. It goes to safeguard lead. The safeguard lead goes, looks a bit dodgy. Maybe we'll send this to social services. Maybe. Get to social services. They publish a report, these headers in here, publish a report, September 2021, on social services in Wales. So we got the teachers thinking they've reported something, it's gone to social services. Guess what? They're not allowed to ask about a disclosure. They're not allowed to follow up on a disclosure. So teachers, tell me, how did you just safeguard that child? You've just passed the buck, and the buck has gone dead. There is no safeguarding in this country. We need to look now at abuse schools. We've done some freedom of information requests. Now, I can't even give you the full numbers because, you know what? We can't even get a straight up from these forces across Wales. The way we write policies, safeguarding policies, we work off mainstream statistics. So mainstream statistics are the reports of abuse. A lot of these reports are reported 20, 30 years later. That's not good. When you look at mainstream statistics, they tell us abuse happens at home, it happens to girls, and it's perpetrated by men. But not in the institutions. In the institutions such as care homes, schools, sports establishments, the victims are male. There's far more male victims, and it goes on for longer periods of time. So you tell me why we've got people in institutions safeguarding our kids that don't even know about institutional abuse. It does not make sense. So we've asked the police, we've asked them for sexual assaults and rapes in school between September 2016 and July 2019. North Wales Police. We have a total of 117 in 3 school years. 54 were perpetrated by another child, and the rest then were perpetrated by adults. Why have we got peer-on-peer abuse? Is it the kids? Is it the kids? It's us. Our fault. Our fault. It came from somewhere. It came from an adult. Did it come from porn? Did it come from somewhere like that? It's our fault, right? Kids are attacking other kids in school. That's just North Wales. Let's look at... Let's look at... Which one's this one? Right, Dyfed-Powys Police. Dyfed-Powys Police, we asked them the same question. How many sexual assaults and rapes happened in school grounds during 3 years? 125. 125. 74 were perpetrated by children. 51 by an adult. But we just worry about peer-on-peer abuse, don't we? You know, just peer-on-peer abuse. Let's just look at that. Don't worry about the adults. South Wales Police. Very concerned about these statistics, very concerned. There has been a total of 519 sexual assaults and rapes in our schools in South Wales. Yeah, 519. We did this freedom of information request. They're online, the US, right? Anyone does a request, that information's out in the public. So we've got 259 of those sexual assaults were perpetrated by a child. 68 were perpetrated by an adult. South Wales Police, why did you not record the age on 192 perpetrators? 192 records of sexual assault and rape had no perpetrator. BS, BS. Now we got Gwynedd Police as well. You haven't got the statistics from them, though. Do you know why?
And it's right.
Apparently, it's too much work. It's going to cost us a lot of money. But they will tell us, in that time period, there was 2,970 odd sexual assaults and rapes reported in that establishment. They can't tell us how many were from the school. So what we're going to do now is to level it out a bit. We're going to do the same request, the other police forces, asking the total of assaults reported anyway, and try and get some kind of feedback from that. So, what have we got? We have got a system of perpetrators in our schools. I can stand here now and I can attack teachers if I want to. I've got every right to. I'm a criminologist. Institutional abuse, child sex abuse, harmful sexual behaviour, perpetrators of abuse, that's my field. 1/3 of all fitness to practice panels for educators in Wales are sexually motivated. The Education Workforce Council Wales, have a look. They'll do these panels, they pull up teachers and they give their reprimand. Guess how long they get for touching our kids? 2 years suspension. You get 2 years suspension when you've been involved in touching our kids. If I went over there and punched that officer in the face, I'm going to get twice as long as what I would for punching him in the face. Because there's a new law out. If you attack somebody, emergency workers officer, you get double the time. Why are these teachers not getting double the time for abusing their positions of trust? Why are they getting away with it? So we've got the Education Workforce Council, right, dealing with these. Do you know who they are? Do you know who they are? You're never going to know. Do you know why? You can't apply for the job. There's no job to apply for. Innit? Jobs for the boys. They cherry picking who are on the Education Workforce Council. I want to see a social worker. I want to see a teacher. I want to see a criminologist. I want to see people from all different fields of work dealing with these things. You read Sexual Offences Act 2003 has been extended. Grooming behaviour is now criminalised. When you read the cases from the Education Workforce Council, it is grooming behaviour. They should be dealing with it, not the EWC. The EWC is dealing with it. They don't know it's a crime. They haven't got a clue. Oh, that's a bit of a tongue in the cheek moment. Pass it off. Shouldn't have done that, naughty boy. No. We've got teachers taking our kids to a prison to visit a sex offender. A teaching assistant creating fake ID to take our children into prisons to see a sex offender, registered sex offender. These are not my words. These are the cases from the Education Workforce Council Fitness to Practice panels. So, to actually sexually safeguard a child, you need to know. You need to know about a predator. So we've got different forms of abuse, we've got different types of abusers. Interfamilial abuse, abuse at home, extrafamilial abuse, abuse outside of the home, institutional abuse. Is an institutional abuser, an interfamilial abuser, an extrafamilial abuser? Yes, they can be. Yes, they can. The abuse does not stop at the gate. Okay? So to protect a child from a predator, you must know about predators. The teachers aren't taught about predators. They aren't trained in this. They do not know how to recognize grooming behavior. They do not understand that the sexualized behavior our children are displaying comes from us. Our mistakes, our failures. We're told this education is to protect from porn. Porn. Top shelf stuff. What the hell is it doing in easy to reach access anyway? That's not my responsibility. That's the government's responsibility. So you can cut that crap when you want. I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, yeah. Right, so that's what I'm saying. So like I said, I can attack teachers if I want to, right? Because you know what? Where there are children, there are paedophiles. When you look at models of offending, perpetrator narratives, they will tell you they are drawn to the job. I don't want to attack teachers. I want to reach out to you, teachers. Look at this responsibility placed on you. You don't know. You don't know how to sexually safeguard a child. You've been given a chart to determine this behaviour from. You stand there, you come against us, you think you're safeguarders. Yeah, generally you are safeguarders. You're not sexual safeguarders. In this situation, you are students. You learn about this. You learn about this from people like us, me. I've spent 10 years academic, 21 years life experience of institutional abuse. I'm here begging for a say, begging to make these policies better. Why aren't they hearing me? Why don't they want to hear me? We're here to help. This responsibility is placed on your shoulders. You're not qualified for this. Stand with us. This responsibility is placed on your shoulders, and it's you we're going to be coming after. We need each other. There are predators in your staff room. You're never going to know who they are. You're not supposed to know who they are. Because in a predator's toolbox, there are three things: access, opportunity, and secrecy. Access is not a physical thing. Opportunity is not a physical thing. Secrecy is not a physical thing. Which means we need to work harder. We need to work much, much harder. And I'm going to show you now a bit of lesson content here that Azar spoke about. I think it's really important. This is one of my favourite because it just puts things out there. Where's it gone? And another one of the laminated stuff. I'm just looking for something on this. 2 seconds. That's beautiful. Yeah, so one thing, guys, really bothers me when people say we got to teach kids about masturbation because they'll be embarrassed otherwise. What? If you've got a 3-year-old with their hands in their trousers and you've said something to embarrass that child, that's on you. That's on you. That's your problem. You do not bring this into our classrooms. So let's have a look at this in our classrooms, shall we? This is for 4-year-olds, mind, in 241 schools in England. There are also rules about touching yourself too. Now, lots of people like to tickle or stroke themselves. It might feel nice. They might play with their hair, stroke their skin, or they may even touch their private parts. This is really very normal. However, some people may get cross or say it's dirty, especially when you touch your own privates. This is strange, it is really very normal. However, it is not polite to do it when others are looking. It is something we should only do when we are alone, perhaps in the bath or shower. It's a bit like picking your nose. It's certainly not polite to do it when everyone is watching. Shall I go into this criminologically, yeah? Disgusting. Let's look at this properly. Safeguarding, right? We got 4 types of children in our class. We got the children who touch themselves, the children that don't. The children that do it because they've been neglected, and the children that do it because they've been abused. This has just programmed every single child in our class not only to play with themselves, but to do it outside of the classroom environment. Isn't safeguarding supposed to be in the class? Why have we just programmed an entire nation of babies away from what we call a non-verbal disclosure? Any safeguarder out there would know that's a barrier to disclosure. Why am I the only person saying it? Why did this go into 241 schools? We need these children to touch themselves in front of us so we can investigate it. We do not program them away. So, I don't think I'm going to rant too much now more than that, to be honest with you. Just want to show you a few bits of, we decided not to talk about lesson content.
And what's worse is that you've got adult teachers teaching these children this program.
Strangers. Wait a minute, let me go a bit further on that. Right, wait a minute.
Something totally different.
So, sorry, well, actually, thank you for bringing that up. What we're talking about perpetrators of abuse, right? These documents are telling children that abuse is violent. Abuse is not always violent. Very rare it is violent. One way a perpetrator tries to get away is by drawing attention to genitals. Talking about your genitals. We've done this, we've done that, we've done this, we've done that. Well, that's the first step of grooming. Our teachers are groomers just because they teach us, okay? They are groomers because we trust them. That makes that they haven't come out to groom us. They're just, their position in society has groomed us to trust them, okay? The only thing they've got is their DBS, Disclosure and Barring Scheme. All that does is tell us about past convictions. Paedophiles don't have past convictions. Like I said, their main tool is secrecy. So we've decided we don't want to talk about lesson content. There's a lot of children here. But what we're going to do is we've screenshot them all, the articles, the vegetables they want their children to use as toys. It's all here. If you can come and have a look and take some pictures. We don't want the children to see them. It's all there, guys, if you can have a look at that.
Is this online?
Yeah, this is all online. I just want to point something out. These ones here, guys, the ones with the pink in the background, these were commissioned by the NSPCC and the Scottish Government, okay? Challenge the NSPCC on this, they can't give us no answers. So, there's plenty more, guys, pass them around. And some over there, look. So as you can see, guys, this is not safeguarding in the slightest. We've got issues with institutional abuse. It's not being dealt with properly. We haven't got the professionals in that we should have. We are focusing on peer and peer abuse, which is an issue. It's an issue because of the adults, okay? We are not sexual from birth, even though they'll have you believe that. If we were sexual from birth, we'd be pulling the toddlers off each other in the nursery. That is a fact. So, guys, I am going to pass you on to Victoria now because a very important aspect of this education is the sexual and reproductive rights. In Wales, we are under a hierarchy of rights. Children's rights override parental rights. This education now brings in something with the sexual and reproductive rights. If you try to remove your child from these lessons, you will be in breach of your child's right to an education. Then eventually your child's sexual and reproductive rights. But what's going to happen to you is the schools will be getting in touch with social services. The government are implementing this. The schools have to deal with the problem parents, okay? Are you going to pass it over to Victoria now? We have a nice round of applause, Victoria, please. She's travelled from Devon. Victoria's from the family called Superheroes. And she's been dealing with a lot of cases here as well. So thank you very much, Vic.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. Just before we do that, I'm going to let Lucia do the raffle because I think you all want to know who's won.